Very good morning, and my personal note of gratitude and thanks to all our friends in WPDCL. Amongst a galaxy of very technologically educated and empowered people, I am a biologically overtrained plumber, right? So one of the main reason you become a doctor is basically you've probably not done as well as in physics, chemistry, or mathematics, and you chose biology to be the refuge. For me, it was a little bit different. I had got admitted into IIT first, and I had to suppress the information to my family, where even the dog in my family sat in the engineering joint entrance. And when I said I will become a doctor, my entire family was in a state of mourning. Nobody spoke to me in my family for about 15 days, and I'm still repenting that mistake. But let me, I've just got to rush out to, there is a All India Convention of Ophthalmologists not too far away from here, so I've got to rush away for that. Let me share with you, some of the things that we see as doctors. We are probably more within the furnace of biology and perhaps in the periphery of technology. We are not entirely technologically blinded, but definitely we need more kind of wholehearted participation in that domain. The way I look at it, I'm not going to bore you with the history of internet and all that, but the story of AI uh, that never ceases to surprise me, that is the origin of the word algorithm. And the origin of the word algorithm is from the name of a ninth century Damascus-based mathematician, Al-Khwarizmi, who was a very humble man who used to live beside the Silk Route. And Al-Khwarizmi considered to be the founding father of algebra because ninth to 12th century was the golden period of Islamic science under the Abbasid dynasty of the Islamic Caliphate. And Al Khwarizmi used to get his ideas and concepts because when all the silks and spices were going through the Silk Route caravans had smuggled manuscripts from the universities of Taxilas and Nalanda. And looking at those scripts of the Vedic manuscripts, he had his own ideas, and thus was born the algebraic concepts. And the mere word algorithm is a Latin mispronunciation of Khwarizmi's name to identify the person in the middle who is definitely the conceptual father of modern computing, who died a very tragic and miserable death, Alan Turing, and it is principally because of him and few others that technology enabled the Allies to defeat the German in the Second World War. Hopefield and Hinton was later on given the Nobel Prize for Physics in the domain of AI, and 2024, you can tell me better, the unhappiest persons were the physicists. And for a few months after that, there was a raging quarrel between the physicists and the AI people that whether AI should be considered as pure physics or not. I don't think the debate is still settled. You see, all of you know about machine learning and deep learning and all that stuff. Let me, in the next 10 minutes or so, give you a snapshot into where we are. It was all over the social media, the Indian AI event in Delhi for all the wrong reasons, mostly the Chinese dog and the infamous university and stuff like that. But on a realistic scale, India is presented with an opportunity because we, by and large, has missed out on the first industrial revolution. If you consider the events like the Telford Bridge, the late 18th century innovations that led to the first industrial revolution, because of social unrest, because of colonial deprivation, India was not never a wholehearted participation in the first industrial revolution of Robert Louis Stevenson, the likes of Nikola Tesla, the likes of the other people. So we were really the applicators of the first industrial revolution. But this definitely is India's opportunity to get into the journey. If you consider all the various areas of industry, starting from entertainment, logistics, finance, services, stock market, retail, so and so, definitely healthcare remains one of the more popular areas where AI is being developed. Now, where all of us will have to remember is that our romance with AI. A few days earlier, you had Valentine's Day. I'm a little bit too old to be participating actively in Valentine's Day activity right now, but it is a little bit like love affair with technology, and classically it goes through what is called a Gartner cycle. You are going to have intense love. You can't see any wrong anywhere. So you will have a spurt in the beginning. Then after the spurt, there will be a sudden downfall. You'll start quarreling. You will see all sort of defects, all kind of negatives in the technology. And after the peak will come the trough. And after the trough, the true worth of the technology will be seen, and we will settle down somewhere in the plateau. It's happened with everything, starting from the invention of the electric loom to technology to photography. Every technology, the time period has been different, has gone through this adoption cycle. Now, we also in medicine are applying this technology. Sometimes we are overplaying it. Now, if you see what is happening right now, those of you who indulge in a little bit of online consultation and all that, so there is a raging thing about online consultations. People will pop up, give you medical advice, give you diagnosis, prescriptions will come out, and some of the people you are speaking to are really not people at all. They are just simulating a person with simulated voices. And how authentic is that advice, we have to be careful about. So the last one you saw was a kind of two-dimensional simulated doctor coming up and giving you advice. And the one you see over here is fairly recent. This is, you take money out of the ATMs. This is how Chinese today are doing their primary health checkup. They have all these ATM type thing. They stick their hand, they get their blood pressure, they stick their finger, they take a few drops of blood, get the blood test, they measure their height and weight. At the end of it, they don't even get a prescription in hand. They get a prescription on the ATM screen, and the next thing is like your popcorn machine, and automatically a few medicines come out. So the machine has seen you, diagnosed you, few pills have come out, prescription has rolled out, very good, you go home. So this is almost completely, the effort is what? Let us be very plain. The effort is to do away with human interference in predictive medicine. So whatever you call to be general medicine, general physician, primary level care, companies like Amazon and Alphabet, they have got together, they have a joint healthcare company, and the joint healthcare company has a very plain, simple mission. That mission statement is medicine without doctors. Plain and simple. So, predictable, reproducible medicine which is based on a few algorithms of thinking and conclusion, there is an effort to replace it. And this is what is happening. A few of our, I don't should be operating the system very well. Now, it is happening in many an area. It's happening in skin disease. Uh, Make no mistake, all these things that everyone will retain their specialities, jobs are not under threat, is not true at all. You stick your hand underneath your mobile camera, click a picture, and about 60 to 70% of dermatological diagnosis will be done with more than 80% accuracy. But the question is, what is happening to the other 20%? The question is, who is vetting their treatment? So it can be done. So few areas like dermatology and ophthalmology is really diagnostic medicine. Professor Shumon was talking about some cardiological. I'll just show you a few snapshots, what we are up to now. Whenever people come to us, chest pain, etc., we think this guy has got a blockage in coronaries and all. We do tests. And one of the most popular tests is, this is called a CT coronary angiogram. Now, does this work? So we as human beings, what we do is we look at the inside of the arteries. We look at the inside of a pipe and try to see whether that lumen of that tube is stenosed or not. Very simple. And then come to our conclusion and go on saying either your arteries are clean, you do not have a blockage, or you do have a blockage. And we are considered to be very clever people. We are not. Now, how is AI improving this diagnosis? This project is actually on, and we are trying to take it forward. The AI is not looking at the inside of the tube. AI is telling us that the problem comes in the inside of the tube much later. Problem starts around the tissues, around the tube, what Professor Shumon was referring to. The capability of AI to diagnose soft tissue density stratification far better than the human eye. So by the time we tell you you have got chest pain, etc., the arteries are narrowed, it basically means in intelligent terms that we have missed your diagnosis 2 years earlier. We have missed your diagnosis 2 years earlier. So every diagnostic modality has to be back calculated. By the time we diagnose luminal narrowing, it means that the story started at least 2 to 3 years before. And we are reporting a lot of normal angiograms now. But a lot of these normal angiograms, 3 years down the line, will present with cardiac problems. Every night, India has 300,000 heart attacks. 30,000 people don't go home every night. And 60% of them have had chest pain for the first time. So it is all very good to stand in front of a grieving, wife or a grieving husband and say, this is the first time. It is not the first time. As physicians, we have to realize either in the ECG or in the angiogram or somewhere, what we think to be early diagnosis today is not early diagnosis. So the clock has to be taken backwards. ECG is a wonderful area where a lot of work is happening now. I think in a few days' time, people will start getting married by matching ECGs. What do I understand from ECG now? I look at the complex, whether the heart rate is regular, where you've had any myocardial damage before, so on and so forth. But what can AI with a proper model, with a proper data input tell me now, which I do not know? AI today is very good, provided your data input in that language, in that model has been good enough. From an ECG, the AI can tell us if this heart pumps normally or not. Today I need both an ECG and an echocardiogram so to tell that to me. But ECG alone is able to predict myocardial contractility that a human eye cannot. Why can I not do it? Because my teachers did not teach me pattern recognition. Pattern recognition is built into your AI machine that my brain does not know. My 5 years in Medical College, Calcutta, did not teach me what pattern recognition is. So we can predict myocardial contractility. Not only that, people can today, a very important concept is, your people are fighting over SIRS, date of birth and all that. Date of birth is going to be, chronological age is going to be an invalid concept in your healthcare. Chronological age will be replaced by estimation of biological age. Chronological age has got a high inaccuracy rate. Your tissue substrate, your myocardial contractility, your frailty index, all these things put together, you may have a 50-year-old who is far more unfit than a 65-year-old, and vice versa. Your functionality, your contribution to your company, your contribution to your family, your projected longevity, how long you are going to live for, is not a function of your birth certificate, is not a function of your biological age, chronological age, it is a function of biological age. So there is currently a project, many projects are going on, which by integrating data from 4 or 5 primary domains is able to give you your biological age, which is far more important than chronological age. In our hospitals now, we hardly have any paper around, so data is being gathered. Diagnostics and pathology is a no-brainer. Blood test, diagnostic, pathology, radiology. Till couple of years ago, most young doctors who've done very well in the entrance examination would take radiology. I think radiology is going to be half dead in 2 years' time. Diagnostic radiology will completely be superseded by machine diagnostics. There is no two words about it. Couple of interesting areas is, there are certain is you discussed about drug discovery. The most sticking point in biotechnology is analyzing the three-dimensional structure of proteins. Many of these vital medicines, vaccines that we all use over here are basically this does not look very interesting at all, but this little blob is really the three-dimensional structure of the COVID vaccine. As soon as COVID had threatened, all of you know, within a span of 160 days, the fastest ever in preventive medicine history, a vaccine was developed. How was it developed? Because people were able to fine tune the three-dimensional structure of vaccines using AI as it existed 4 years, 5 years ago from now, because otherwise we would still be in the lab and trying to, sequencing amino acids in 2 dimension is not difficult at all. But arranging them into the three-dimensional structure is pretty hard, and that is what AI is doing for us. This is an Indian company, and somehow, I am associated with it. Two clever Indian boys used to work with a racing car company. They are automobile engineers. What happens in the racing car? The racing cars go round and round the circuit, and before they make the stop, every car has few thousand sensors in it. So before the car actually stops, getting the data from the sensors, the engineers are able to know which wheel requires air, what is your brake fluid level, what is your fuel level, which shock absorber needs to be adjusted. So they need not look at the car. They know it well before the car has stopped. This is called vibration analysis. And vibration analysis today, you know of ECG, electrocardiography. So electrocardiography is being augmented by the use of ballistocardiography. And with ballistocardiography, today when you are lying down in bed, you can lie on a mattress. And when you lie on a mattress, this mattress has a few thousand sensors. In the real time, we get data from the sensors. We are able to tell you your heart rate, your mobility, your blood pressure. Few parameters are still difficult, like SpO2, etc. And this Indian technology is being very widely used in at least 15 countries in the world today. Ballistocardiography has become one of the most popular remote contactless monitoring. This has not a wire attached to the patient. So this really has become very popular India's homegrown technology. I won't take more time. There are robotic surgery. There are 10 operating robots in the city today, and even in a city of our strength in Kolkata, the use of the robot is really the most popular robot is called Da Vinci. Why is it called Da Vinci? Because Leonardo da Vinci was never very happy because the human hand can only move in 3 planes. So Da Vinci was always thinking, if the human hand was a little bit smaller in size, and if he could move the hand in 10 planes rather than in 3 planes, then the size will be lesser, the dexterity will improve. And this is an operation of prostatectomy. It has been revolutionized. It used to be a bloody operation before. It has now become a very subtle, skillful surgery. And robotic surgery, it is improving the skill. It does not need a big hole for your hand to get into the patient's body. The actually surgeon is sitting 10 foot away from the patient. So the maneuverability, the specificity, the skill level is a whole lot better. And at the end of it all, it is not in high tech operations and all these things, but we have to start applying AI to these areas like, busy hospital OPDs and all these things. India will have its own challenges. We have problems with healthcare access. We spend 6,500 rupees per capita on healthcare. US spends $15,000 per capita. We will have challenge with electricity. Our biggest challenge, as as Nvidia fellow defined AI to be a 5-layer chip, our biggest limitation will be number one, having our own data. All our data belongs to somebody else. Your second problem is to create data centers. Today, if you have two LLM data centers in Kolkata, the next 3 days you will have load shedding. We do not have the power backup in our cities. We do not have the water backup on the cities to house. We will probably have sub centers. We will probably have, we will be sub vendors for LLM models. Infrastructural constraints is going to be a big thing. And where I think we are really working towards, AI will shortly in medical interaction. This is not something we are considering today. People say you talk to a doctor, you get empathy, you get emotion, you get softness. Today, AI is very much able to replicate emotion. It will talk to you in a sad voice if you are sad, right? So the emojis and all will be replaced very soon. But the real challenge will AI will come is regarding with AI and consciousness. That is a completely different domain. For that, the neurologist will have to define that what constitutes consciousness. That once you have things like agentic AI, when you get into the next couple of generations of deep learning and machine learning, will that replace the spontaneity, the ability to think for yourself, the ability to make conscious, integrated, non prompted decision making is the frontier that AI is looking at. And if that comes, then I think humanity will really be superseded by a more superior species. If that happens, that future is in the hands of technologists. So I think about 120,000 years ago, Homo sapiens overpowered the Neanderthals. Now, the next 20 years or 10 years will define if the Homo sapiens are getting overpowered by the next level of digital evolution. I will have to make a run. If you have any questions, you are happy to ask me. And once again, personally grateful for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. As Dr. Sarkar said, that you have any question, definitely you're going to have a couple of questions from your side.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. ECG and AI is endless possibility. A lot of people, in India, when we diagnose, what is the biggest limitation of ECG? Simple technology discovered 110 years before, but between you and me, don't tell it outside, people will beat the hell out of me. Only 30% of qualified doctors can interpret ECGs. I was a part of the project where, through an organization, we distributed 500 ECG machines. And we were expecting from remote villages transmitted online, paperless. Very few people were. Everybody is dead scared. They do not know how to interpret that. So the first backup, interpreting ECGs. If you know to interpret ECGs, your game is half won. And then giving the diagnosis, then giving the treatment is a no-brainer. হ্যাঁ, কে দেখছে আপনার কটা? আমি 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 সত্যি কথা বলছি। আমি এমডি লেভেলের, আমি people who are practicing for 10 years, their error rate in diagnosing arrhythmia is more than 60%. Definitely. হ্যাঁ, আর এখন এখন হ্যাঁ, অ্যান্ড ইটস এ ডিফারেন্ট ম্যাটার অল টুগেদার। এখন যে রেটে মিষ্টির দোকান, প্রতি মিষ্টির দোকানে একটা করে মেডিকেল কলেজ হচ্ছে, আই ডোন্ট ইভেন এক্সপেক্ট দেম টু ইন্টারপ্রেট ইসিজিস। হ্যাঁ, আপনি দেখুন না, আমার ভয় কি, আমার যখন বুকে ব্যথা হবে তখন ইসিজিটা কে পড়বে? হ্যাঁ, আরে বাবা, আপনি অরিন্দম পান্ডে বা যে কোনো ভারতবর্ষে কটা কার্ডিওলজিস্ট আছে জানেন যারা ইসিতে পারে? সারা দিন এই যে আপনি বসে আছেন, এটা তো ভারতবর্ষ নয়। 3.5 লক্ষ হার্ট অ্যাটাকের কটা ইসিজি হয় জানেন 6 ঘন্টার মধ্যে? কারেক্ট। So the biggest challenge, I think everybody mentioned, we will try to develop this project. Real-time interpretation of ECG is the lowest hanging fruit. Pick it up and interpret. Half the battle will be won over there. আর এখন তো ইসিজি করতেও হবে না। The ECG machines are already being replaced by your bipolar mobiles. আপনার মোবাইলে যদি ইলেকট্রোড থাকে, আপনি বুকে দিন না, আপনার তো 3টে লিড দরকার। আমরা যাতে পরীক্ষায় ফেল করি ওই জন্য আমাদের 12 লিড ইসিজি পড়াতো। আপনি এমনি রাইট সাইড অফ দ্য হার্ট আরভি ইনফার্ক্ট ডায়াগনোজ করতে পারেন না উইথ দ্য কারেন্ট ইসিজি। ইসিজি ইজ দ্য লোয়েস্ট হ্যাঙ্গিং ফ্রুট, লোয়েস্ট হ্যাঙ্গিং ফ্রুট। Yes, yes, absolutely. Okay, any other questions, sir? হ্যাঁ, দেখুন এআই এআই এর তো অনেক চালাকি আছে, উপর চালাকি আছে। এআই মনে রাখবেন, এআই নেভার মেক্স মিস্টেকস, এআই হ্যালুসিনেটস। যারা এআই নিয়ে সিরিয়াসলি কাজ করে তারা একটা শব্দ ব্যবহার করে না, দ্যাট ইজ মিস্টেক। তারা বলবে আমার মডেল হ্যালুসিনেট করেছে। ওকে, আপনি যে কোনো চ্যাট জিপিটি ইউজ করুন না, আপনি একটা প্রেজেন্টেশন খটোমটো বার করতে বলুন, কখনো বলবে না আমি করতে পারি না। ও কাজ করিয়ে যাবে, আপনাকে 3 দিন ধরে মেশিন অন রাখতে হবে। বিকজ ও ট্রেনিং নেটওয়ার্কে করতে পারি না বলে কোনো প্রম্পট নেই। ও আপনাকে ক্লান্ত করে দেবে, আলটিমেটলি আপনাকে বুঝতে হবে এটাও করতে পারে না। সুতরাং সেখানে এই যে রেডিওলজিতে এখন কি হচ্ছে, রেডিওলজিতে আপনি পর 1000টা ডায়াগনোজ করবেন। এবার আপনার অ্যালগোরিদমের মধ্যে কিছু রেড ফ্ল্যাগস থাকতে হবে। আপনার এআই ডায়াগনস্টিক্সকে বলতে হবে যে প্লিজ ডাবল চেক দিস থিংস। দ্যাট উইল বি আ ভেরি গুড মডেল। সে যদি একটা হাম্বড়াই করে বলে যে না আই হ্যাভ ডান ইট, অ্যান্ড ইউ ক্যানট পিক আপ, যে এই যে আপনি আজকে ব্লাড টেস্ট করছেন, আমরা যখন মেডিকেল কলেজে হিমোগ্লোবিন মেপেছি, ব্লাড নিয়েছি, স্লাইডে দিয়েছি, এখানে রেখেছি, অ্যাসিড দিয়েছি, তারপর ম্যাচ করেছি, কেউ আজকের জীবনে কোনো ছেলে মেয়েকে দিতে বললে পারবে? এখন আপনি 2 ml ব্লাড একটা মাল্টি চ্যানেল অ্যানালাইজার দিনে দিচ্ছেন, আপনার ঠাকুরদার জুতোর সাইজ থেকে ডাব্লিউবিসি কাউন্ট সবকিছু বেরিয়ে আসছে। কেউ মেশিনটার মধ্যে গিয়ে ঢুকে দেখেছে যে কিভাবে সে অ্যানালাইজ করছে? So that is also a very high level of automation. Already তো হচ্ছে না। সো আমাদের যেটা বুঝতে হবে, এখন আমরা এই যে চাইনিজরা যেটা করছে, ওরা কিন্তু এটা নিয়ে ওদের মধ্যে অনেক তোলপাড় হচ্ছে, আমরা খবর পাই না সবকিছু। ওরা গ্রামে গ্রামে ডিস্ট্রিক্টে এরকম মেশিন বসিয়ে দিচ্ছে, আপনি হাত ঢোকাচ্ছেন, ব্লাড নিচ্ছেন, ওষুধ নিয়ে বাড়ি চলে যাচ্ছেন। ওর এরর রেট এখন বলছে 20%। এখন প্রশ্ন হচ্ছে যে মেশিন, ধরুন মেশিন বললো এটা আমি বুঝতে পারিনি, তখন আপনি ওই লোকটাকে কোথাও কারো কাছে একটা পাঠিয়ে দেবেন। কিন্তু আপনার মেশিন যদি ওর মধ্যে সেই পলিটিক্যাল স্পর্ধাটা থাকে, আমি সব জানি সব করে দেবো, তাহলে ইউ উইল গেট ইনটু প্রবলেম্যাটিক এরিয়াস। হ্যাঁ, না সেটা তো সবসময়তেই আছে না। Probability, life is a game of probabilities, but as long the probability is narrow. আপনি একটা পাইলটের প্লেনে উঠে পড়লেন যার probability of crashing is 10%, that is your bad luck.
Okay.
Quickly. Acha, so
we
what
have
I'll
got.
we'll probably meet in a session later. I don't want to keep you. Once again, thank you very much. I'll make a run.